we are live. Like I said that I was going to come live today, and I have a few minutes, so I figured now would be a good time to go live and talk about why it is so hard to move abroad. Why it's hard to move abroad. Not to discourage anybody, but it's hard. Okay. And if you're joining live, say hi. If you're watching this on the replay, just let me know. #replay. And there are several reasons why moving abroad can be challenging, can be really hard. There are obviously some advantages about moving abroad, and I think that we are in a season where there's a whole movement of people wanting to move abroad, wanting to leave the US for several reasons, right? There are always waves, right? But I think that since the elections, there's been a big wave and then it kind of dialed down a little bit. And now, since the inauguration, there's been another big wave about that. Okay. And so, why is it so hard to move abroad? Well, there are obvious reasons. One of the reasons is that you are living your comfort. As serious as you can be about wanting something new, wanting to change because maybe you're unhappy about how things are where you are, you're going to a new environment, and an environment you're not used to, an environment that you might not be very familiar with, even though you might visit a few times, go on vacations. You don't live there, right? You don't live in that new environment. So it's a new environment with new smells, new customs, new language, maybe new ways of doing things, new culture. And so that in itself, like, it's just like marriage, right? Marriage is challenging. It's a beautiful thing, but it's very challenging, mostly if you get married late in your life, like late, quote unquote, like in your 30s, for example. You've lived 30 years of your life in a certain way, certain manners, certain customs, like based on your family unit. And now you're going to create a new life with somebody who has been raised in a specific culture and manners and all of that. And now you're combining those two to create something new. And so whenever you have, when two different things not collapse, but come into contact, well, there's going to be some friction, right? And so now being aware of these things is the most important thing in the process, is to recognize and to acknowledge and to know in advance that there's going to be some friction. Friction is not a bad thing, right? Friction doesn't mean that it's bad. Friction just means growth. That means room for something new, right? And so new culture, new foods, new friends, right? You might be leaving your friends here, childhood friends, high school friends, your family as well. And you might be going to a place where you don't know anybody, or maybe you know people, but you don't really know them that well. Okay. And so being aware that there's going to be some difficulty at the beginning, there might be some difficulty in making new friends. And so knowing that that's normal and that's something to be expected will make the whole process a lot easier. I remember when I came here, I didn't know anybody. I didn't know anybody. I mean, I had a brother in another state close by, but I didn't know anybody in the whole Texas, in the whole of Texas, in the whole of my town. And so, yes, there were challenges, but at the end of the day, you have to understand why you are making the move, because there's going to be some frictions. If it's not with you, and if you are traveling as a couple or with a family, if not you, it's going to be your spouse, or maybe it's going to be your kids who are having a hard time adjusting with the new environment. And so what are you going to do about it? Two options. Two options. The first one is to say, you know what? Go back to the vision, go back to the reason why you moved in the first place, and push through. Always remember the reason why you're moving abroad. And that's the first thing you need to do before you even move, is to understand why you're moving abroad, and to understand that the destination you're picking might not be the solution for you. If you have other options, if you have a way to go to another country, then pick that option. If you can come back to the US, pick that option. Okay? Depending on the reasons why you're moving, and I'm going to say most of us moving are not in imminent danger. okay? And I want to be sensitive when I say that. Sure, there are some dangers living in the US, but it's not the type of danger that a refugee would encounter, for example. So whenever I hear people in groups talk about, can an American claim, refugee status in another country, I'm not going to say that it's laughable, because I respect everybody's opinion, but I just want to say there's really a lack of perspective in what we go through here. Again, I'm not trying to minimize the danger that we live in, but the fact that I can be in my car, do a live, and talk to you, and not fear for my life, that in itself should not classify as I need to go and seek refuge, when other people, many people around the world, are in imminent fear for their lives, like surrounded by bombs or anything like that. Okay, so let's put that into perspective and not put ourselves in the same category as people who are imminent danger, okay, who really need to seek refuge in a new place. All right, so the fact that we can decide on where we want to go, that's a big bonus. That's not refugee status, okay? A refugee doesn't get to pick where they want to go, okay? To just seek the first place where they can be. All right, and so knowing that you can always come back is a big advantage. There are a lot of videos out there on YouTube from people who have moved to a destination and then they didn't like it, and that's okay. You don't have to like it. And so now the thing is that you have to be prepared for the possibility of you not liking it and possibly coming back. Okay? Poetry saying, I'm going to, oops, there you go. Oh, I wanted to see it. There we go. Hi there, I'm going to Vietnam next week. Yeah, and I'm so nervous because it's all new. Living what I know here in the States, solo traveler. And yes, I have to keep I don't know how to scroll so I can see the whole message. I'm sorry, Poetry. Congratulations on going to Vietnam. I'm sure you're going to have a blast. I'm sure you're going to have a blast. And, the newness of everything is exciting. It's a big world out there. And the fact that you're going to a country that is completely different culturally. Hey, Michelle, how are you? It's to be commended. It's to be, appreciated. That means that, you're not scared of adventure, and you hopefully appreciate other people's cultures, right? Not to say that if you're going to a culture that is similar to the US, then you don't appreciate culture. That's not what I'm trying to say. But it just means that you're very adventurous. That's pretty good. Pretty good. And so knowing those things in advance, that, okay, Vietnamese food is not the same as American food, right? Vietnamese food that we get here in the US is not the same as authentic Vietnamese food that you're going to get there, right? And so whether you're going solo or you're going with a family, be sensitive to these things. Be sensitive to the fact that there might be some difficulties. And that doesn't mean that you have to give up. That's just the process of life. You are going out of your comfort zone. You are going to meet new people, new environment, new everything. Look at my notes. I'm looking at my notes here. For the kids, new school, new friends. Maybe they're not going to be able to make friends right away. So does that mean that you have to come back? Maybe yes, maybe not. You have to be very, very clear about what you want. I talked about that a little bit yesterday, that the first time I moved technically abroad was to come here in the US 20 years ago. It was for school. It was hard. It was really, really hard. It was a new language. I mean, I was fluent in English, but not like I was speaking English every day back home. It was mostly like at church. And so going to school and everything is in English, my brain was exploding. And I couldn't complain to anybody because everybody around me could speak English. So it wasn't like there were other people around me who would, understand. Some of them would understand because they were international students and all of that. But, are you going to Cote d'Ivoire or Cameroon? Michelle. Did you watch the videos that I did with my husband? He said on Cameroon. I'm still open. but we're gonna let you know very soon. I think there's some hints in the video. So go back and watch the 3-part video that we did. There's some hints in there. Uh, there's some hints in there. I think you might get it. You might know where we're going if it's Cameroon or Cote d'Ivoire. Yeah, so it was really hard, really, really hard. But many times I wanted to give up and I wanted to go back home. But the thing is that I had the vision. You have to have the vision of why you are going. What is the reason why you're going? And I just have a few minutes. But why is the reason why is the reason you're going in the first place? Like, you have to approach this as a mission in a way. For me, it was to get a degree. I don't have a degree yet. I cannot go back home. As plain, as simple as that. I couldn't go back home with nothing. As much as I cried, as much as I complained, as much as my advisor was like tough on me and I wanted to give up, and she was like, maybe you're not PhD material, whatever it is, whatever it was, I had to suck it up and just stick to the mission. Maybe that's the approach you have to take. Even if it's not as radical, like there's no turning back, you have to stick to the mission. You have to know why you're going in the first place. Is it to have a healthier lifestyle? Is it to be, I don't know. You have to know. You have to have a mission. Yes, poetry. All right. I want to leave you with that. Let me know your mission. Let me know your mission in the comments. Tomorrow I'll come back probably around, I don't know what time, but in the morning, more than likely in the morning, and for another live. Thank you for those who joined me live, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.